Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Jan Perruccio, who is the Superintendent of Schools for the town of Old Saybrook.
Yeah, hi. How
Madam,
are you?
hey, how are you?
Nice
Good to see you again.
Nice
It's
to be
been
here.
a while.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah.
By the way, first piece of business we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
I guess congratulations are in order.
Yeah, thank you.
I heard a little birdie told me about something.
Yeah.
And what is that something that the little birdie might have told me?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to be named Superintendent of the Year for 2023 for the state of Connecticut.
Congrats.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that. It's good PR for Old Saybrook.
Absolutely. So give us a little bit of background on Jan Perruccio and how long she's been Superintendent of Schools in Old Saybrook, but maybe before that, where she came from.
Yeah. Well, I've been Superintendent of Schools in Old Saybrook. This is my 10th year.
Wow.
Pretty proud of that. It's a great community. I'm really happy to be working there. But prior to that, I was an assistant superintendent in Wallingford, Connecticut.
Oh, sure.
And before that, I was back on the shoreline at Lima Lime High School as principal. Assistant principal at Region 13 Coggeshall, so stayed in the shoreline group there for a while. And I started my career as a teacher of English and a department chair at Cheshire High School.
Really?
Yeah, so I've stayed in the state my whole career.
Okay.
And most of it really now has been spent on the shoreline. So I love this area of the state.
Obviously, you like it a lot because you're still here.
I'm still here, and I love Old Saybrook.
Absolutely. How are things in the school system going this academic year?
Yeah, so I'm glad you're asking me about this year because the previous two weren't a lot of fun.
No, they weren't.
But I think everybody's going to say that about the last few years. But this year has been really, really good.
Yeah.
We have students playing fall sports, then winter sports, and you're able to have crowds in the gyms again. And we had a fall play, and we have a spring musical coming. Yep. We have 2 classes of high school students going off to Washington, D.C. this year. So these are things that have been taken away from kids for a few years, and it's really nice to be getting back into it. And we're still dealing with illness and still dealing with new rules of the road, but at least we're able to have these experiences for our students again, which, obviously these are the things that make high school really special and make school really special.
Absolutely. Now, what are some long-term consequences of COVID in education?
Well, they've been pretty significant. You've probably heard a lot of talk about anxiety and depression amongst students, I think also amongst educators. I know that we created a position over the last 2 years to have an additional mental health person in the district who's coordinating all of our efforts to recover in that area.
Right.
We've added some screeners to help identify students who are struggling. We've added wellness programs for educators because it's been really hard on them too. So there's been this need to have an academic recovery. So we've been sort of following the philosophy of acceleration, identifying what students might have as gaps in their learning, and then try to fill those gaps with the appropriate experiences. And I would say that overall, Saybrook has been really lucky. We were only closed for a few months in 2020, then we were open and stayed open, and I think that's made the difference. Our students are performing pretty well. Old Saybrook was just recently found to be 15th in the state on their Next Gen scores. Oh, cool. Which is a combination of scores, and so I think the students would tell you that it was tough, but I would say that they're recovering really nicely. They rebound well.
Absolutely. Now, what are Next Gen scores?
So those are the scores. It's sort of the report card for a school district, and it's based on a number of different qualifications. Involvement in the arts, test scores, health and wellness through the physical education score, graduation rates. So it's a combination of everything that makes a district successful. Mm-hmm.
Now, what new learning did the school district get from the experience
of COVID?
Yes.
Yeah. We were not what they call a one-to-one school district.
All right.
When we came in, we did not have computers issued to our students, and so between March 13th and March 23rd, we had to figure out how to get computers into everybody's hands. And we did it. Our IT department did it. We put up a little kiosk outside, and just as people drove up, we handed out laptops. And what we learned is that really is the way to run schools.
Yeah.
It really is important for all kids to have access to good computers. We learned that while technology is a wonderful aid to learning, it can't replace a classroom teacher.
No.
Not at all. And that distance, the togetherness of being at school is incredibly important. But what we learned is how to use our resources better. I really think that we are much wiser about how to structure like a Google Classroom, and you know, some of us weren't even using Google when we shut down schools in March of that year. So we learned a lot about that. We learned a lot about what's really essential to students beyond the academic piece of school. And we're kind of possessive over that. We don't want to go back to the way things were. We want to make sure that we keep moving forward and keep giving kids really hands-on opportunities and project-based learning.
Now, how is education better?
As I said, I think we took giant leaps in the use of technology. We found all kinds of apps and software to use with students and to be creative. We found ways to send them out into their driveways and their backyards to learn about, you know, the colors of leaves, and we found ways to use resources that are really all around us. And in some ways, it was both kind of a back to basics and also a leap forward in how we teach. It forced us to be creative, and it forced us to think outside the box while we were shut down. And when we came back, we learned that sitting in rows is not a lot of fun, because we made the poor kids sit in rows for that first year because we didn't have any way to protect ourselves against COVID. There were no vaccines. There was no medication if you were sick. Nothing available to us, at least. So we had kids in masks sitting behind clear glass separators in rows, so they weren't breathing on each other. And what we learned is that's not a great way to teach kids, which we'd always thought was true. There was plenty of research that said it, but then we kind of had our own live research that it's not a great way for students to learn. They need to be interacting with each other. They need to be up and engaged. They need to be, you know, relating to more than just you know, a piece of technology or a book.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know about you, but I'm glad sort of things are sort of back to a normal, because I am so sick of a Zoom meeting or a Google meeting. It's not even funny. Because once the pandemic started, I was doing my show.
I did your show with you
yes,
that
you
way
did.
once.
That's right.
Carl
That's
Fortuna
right.
And I did it that way.
That's
from our living rooms.
That's right. And I was in my home office. It's like, oh, this is horrible.
That was not fun. It's not fun. And,
no.
You know, it really separates people. You feel really disconnected. You know, so it's everything about this. On the other hand, I have learned that I can attend a Zoom meeting rather than driving to Hartford or wherever. I can attend a Zoom meeting and be involved in the conversation without spending time in the car, which you can see that even on our roads.
Oh, absolutely.
Our roads are much quieter than they used to be.
Absolutely.
And not too many people work at work anymore, right? Other than educators and grocery workers and first responders.
Exactly. Sales representatives.
Yep, that too. Yeah, you got to get out there.
Now, one thing we also didn't talk about that we should probably touch on, you and I have a common friend who was recently retired.
Who's that?
Bob Rader.
Oh, yeah. From CAVE. Yeah. Great leader.
Oh, awesome guy.
Yeah.
Very nice guy, always very hospitable to me. Hey, Bob, I've got an opening. You want to come down? Sure.
And the thing about Bob is that, you know, obviously education was very important to him. Education at the state level and the national level. And, you know, he's a leader for a long time in our state. Yeah.
Now, how closely do you guys work with the Connecticut State Legislature?
So I get a lot of opportunity to communicate through, I'm the co-chair of the Legislative Committee of the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents. So, you know, So far this year, and I'm on the executive board of CAPS. And so far this year, I've met with the education co-chairs. I've had an opportunity to speak with the ranking members on education. There's another meeting coming up this week, and I'm hoping to testify in front of Education Appropriations on Friday about funding schools in Connecticut. There's also a press conference on Friday that I'm hoping to attend. So I get quite a bit of opportunity. And I think as superintendents, you can either choose to engage that way, either with your local legislators or with others up in Hartford, or you don't have to. It just happens to be something that I feel feel like if I want to be able to complain about things, I need to be able to be involved in them, right?
Yeah.
And so I go up there and try to make a difference and try to represent what it's like to be in school districts in our area of the state.
Absolutely.
So quite a bit.
Absolutely. I was going to say another mutual friend you and I have is Lon Seidman.
Yes, from Region 4.
I've known Lon for 20-something years.
Yep. Now he's very involved.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so he runs the CABE Region 8, I think, breakfast for all the legislators, and it's always a great event. And we've had a couple of those this year, just trying to get our thoughts across to our legislators before they take action on, so many bills that are going to be put in front of them in the coming months. And this is a long session, so there's a lot of bills that are going to be going in. And, one of the things that we're talking about is, and this was something that I had mentioned to you earlier, that education has changed in other ways beyond, the way students and teachers feel about the classroom. And the other thing, and I don't think this makes us unique, is that it's tough to hire these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, certified teachers are not falling off of trees. They're very difficult to find. And Old Saybrook's always been really fortunate that we've been able to hire teachers pretty easily.
Right.
This year it took us all summer to hire. We ended up with some excellent hires, but it took us all summer to hire. And we put out for long-term substitute positions, and we can't get anyone. We can't get paraeducators. We can't get substitutes, although that's starting to get better, the day substitutes. Unfortunately, part of that is when everyone's employed, it's very hard to get substitutes. But if the economy continues to slow and you get more layoffs, we'll see that. But as far as the certified teachers go, they're just not coming through the pipeline for various reasons. I don't think COVID helped us. It didn't make it an attractive job.
No.
There's so much in the news about safety in public schools and respect for public school teachers and leaders, and there's no flexibility. Like, you can't stay home today and work from home.
No.
So I think that we in the field need to find ways to make it more attractive, because it is a fantastic job, but it is definitely a job that has certain requirements to it that we really can't change the parameters of those requirements too much. So
absolutely not.
And I think we got to make ways to have it appeal to our current high school students and college students.
Absolutely. Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Not at all.
All right, we'll be right back.
Smart TVs and streaming services have taken over the television industry. VSC TV is proud to announce our presence on Apple TV and Roku to make watching your favorite shows even easier. You can access this service by downloading the Cablecast ScreenWeave app. Then choose Valley Shore Community TV from the list of channels. Select VSC TV Live to watch our channel in full HD. Or pick a show from our on-demand video library. VSC TV is your local Connecticut Mid-Shore Valley digital connection.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Jan Perruccio, who's the Superintendent of Schools for the town of Old Saybrook. Jan, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Jan, let's talk about how you can help students catch up on lost learning and what exactly lost learning is.
Well, I think that as hard as we all tried, that students, parents, teachers, leaders during COVID, especially the shutdown, or times when students have been out for an extended period because they've been ill.
Yes.
I think there was lost learning. I think that, certainly test results show that there was lost learning. I think those of us who were fortunate enough to be open more had less of that to deal with. But students have gaps in their experiences, or they had modified lessons in learning that really impacted them adversely. What we have done, and I think what a lot of districts have done, is we were able to use our federal funding to bring enrichment programs to students. And so we have been offering summer programs, so extended year, for any students who are interested in being involved. And those are K through 12.
Yep.
At the high school level, some of them have been credit-bearing courses, but it's a great way for us to, first of all, try out new project-based hands-on learning in a summer setting,
right.
and also give kids opportunities to catch up on things. We've also done we've done some tutoring, we've done some acceleration, as I say, where you really kind of identify what does this group of students really need, what's missing,
right.
and then get that to them in a way that is very focused and very standards-based.
Absolutely. Now tell me, how has COVID and the economy impacted the hiring of teachers and other staff?
So
a lot.
Yeah. So the hiring has been a bear, and I'll tell you too, the financial piece. We're having just as many issues with finances as everyone else is. So obviously, if you have a shortage of staff, you have to pay them more to get them in, and just to get them through the door. And that has been true for us, as it has been for a number of other industries.
Right.
So that's been a problem. Everything costs more, right? Costs more to go to the grocery store, to put oil and gas in the tank, and and we're having that same problem as well. So salaries, commodities, repairs, trying to get, we have an air conditioning project going on at our elementary school. We ordered the chillers, the compressors for that last spring. We're hoping, late winter actually, we're hoping they'll be in by May of this year. So
they haven't come in yet.
No, the manufacturing problems are hitting us too. You go to order a part and it takes forever to get it, or it has to be shipped directly from the manufacturer, and it's been a challenge. And public schools tend to run kind of lean on leadership, and so you don't have lots of people to organize those projects when they become such difficult projects to organize, and you're pulling from the staff that you have.
Speaking of things going on with the Board of Education in Old Saybrook.
Yeah.
Nice job with your lights project. I had Scott Giegerich on with me a while back to talk about the lights project.
Yeah, have you seen them? Because they're beautiful.
Have I seen them on? No. Have I seen them on the field?
Yeah.
Unlit?
Yeah.
Every morning when I go by the high school on the way to work.
Yeah, they're spectacular. And really, we have the first selectman and the second selectman, actually all the selectmen, and a group of very dedicated parents. Really, we have them to thank for getting that rolling. And honestly, I was the one who said, I don't think you're going to meet your deadline, but they did. They met their deadline.
Yes, they did.
And then our own Julie Pendleton, Director of Operations, Facilities and Finance, was kind of the boots on the ground getting that project.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, in place. And we were very fortunate to have a dry year because we had to bury those, those poles in the ground, and we figured we'd hit water. Well, not this summer, we didn't. No. So we lucked out there, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's to go there at night and see a game going on is really great. And what's great about those lights is there is absolutely no bleed over outside of where the lights are shining down. So you can walk, 20 feet from the lights, and it's dark on the ground. So they're really taking advantage of the latest technology in lighting.
All right, I got to come out and take in a light game then.
Yeah, absolutely. In the spring, we'll be back there again. So come on it down. We'll be lacrosse and all kinds of good things.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, how have the changes in the economy caused by the world issues impacting funding?
Well, so we're running out of our federal grant money, which, there were multiple rounds of the federal grant money to get everyone through COVID. Municipalities got it, school districts got it. We were able in our first round to buy masks and gloves and cleaning supplies, and in the second and third round, we spent money on education, on helping kids, learn. And we also spent money on socio-emotional concerns. We had one grant-funded leadership position in that area, mental health. But those funds are going away. And so fortunately, we did not have to create lots of teaching positions out of those funds, because municipalities, districts where that's happened, they now have to look at either absorbing those salaries in their own operating budget, or they have to let those people go. So we're not in that position. No. But certainly any of the projects that we've been able to pull together to improve, heating, air conditioning, ventilation, that money is gone. And as I said earlier, the expense of doing things these days is just everywhere we turn. It costs a third to a half more, including shipping. You try to have something shipped to your school, and it'll cost you $700 or $800 what used to cost you $300.
Exactly.
So we're suffering from the same things that any industry would suffer from shortage in staff, having to pay more to get staff, supplies, manufacturing supply chain issues, hitting public schools just like they are any other business.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys seem like you're a very busy school district in Saybrook. There's always something going on.
That's true. Well, we have kids who are very interested in various things. You know, and we have an opportunity very often to offer them those opportunities. That's one of the compliments that I receive. I do senior exit interviews as students are leaving.
Oh, do you?
I do that during the month of April.
Really?
And it's
cool.
really great. And they tell us what they thought was great and what they thought we could improve on. And one of the things that they always tell us is great is that if there's something they're interested in, we will try to find a way to make it happen. So we have, maybe one student swimming with another high school because we don't have a swim team, or playing ice hockey with another high school, or being involved in something that we don't offer, but we try to work that out with other schools.
Right. Because you don't have an ice hockey rink in the town of Saybrook.
No, very few people do these days. Even my old hometown, I grew up in Hamden, and the ice hockey rink was our place. I think they sold that, and so it's not a town rink anywhere. But so few. I think it's very hard to get hockey. It's very hard to get football teams.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a big deal, and we're looking at combining now our current football team, which has been a team with Westbrook for a very long time. Mm-hmm. We're now looking at joining with Clinton because none of us can put a team together anymore.
I saw that on one of the local media outlets. They're looking at combining teams, which I think would be a great thing because you.
Well, it's a safety issue, first of all.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm certainly no expert on football, but my understanding is, you have to have enough kids to put out there. Very often in the last few years, we had these amazing kids who were out there playing, both offense and defense and never sitting. And
no, you can't play both.
That's rough. That's rough.
Absolutely.
So I think this will give them an opportunity to, specialize a little bit and play safer games. So we're looking forward to where that will go for them in the fall.
And now to collaborate. Obviously, all of the minds have to agree. Do you think they're going to agree and come to a somewhat happy medium?
I know our board has supported it already.
Okay.
Yeah, they already took a vote to support it, and I'm not sure where Clinton and Westbrook are on it. But I know that I've been talking with the superintendents, and they seemed favorable and looking forward to having their kids have the same opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
Bigger and better opportunities.
Absolutely. So we've got some more time left. What else is going on in the town of Old Saybrook we can talk about?
Oh gosh, we're always busy. We've got, as I said, this is budget season.
Yeah.
So, we're attending a lot of Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance meetings, and Board of Education in Old Saybrook just met with Board of Finance recently, presented the board's budget.
Okay.
And, all of the departments are currently getting together and putting that together. As you know, our Chamber of Commerce is always active.
Oh, yeah.
Our town hall is always a hub. Our Park and Rec always has a million activities. And our Youth and Family Services always has lots and lots of activities. I mean, as far as things for young people to do, school-aged children in our town, there's just so many things that are being offered to them. Even like a half day. We've got a half day this Friday, and I noticed Youth and Family Services put out a flyer about taking students somewhere. And I think that we are very fortunate. We have a lot of support from the different agencies in town, Acton Library, the police department. I like the fact that you have that campus there.
Yep.
The town hall and Youth and Family, fire department, police are across the street. The library's, I don't know, a tenth of a mile down the road.
Corner.
So we have a lot available to our community and to our students, and fortunately they take advantage of it.
Absolutely. One thing we have to talk about, you mentioned all the fun stuff coming up in the next couple months.
Yeah.
I understand there's a musical at the high school coming up in the spring.
Yeah, there's a musical. Every spring it's sort of a rite of passage, and the kids this year are doing Legally Blonde.
Okay.
So that should be a lot of fun. A good ensemble kind of cast. And as I said, these were the things that they lost during COVID, but we get that this year, and looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and I believe that's in March.
Yes. Yeah. If you ask me the exact date right now,
I know.
I'd have to check my calendar.
If you ask me the exact date, I don't know. But for more information on
it'd be on our website.
What's going on? Yeah, check out the Town of Old Saybrook website, and we can always get that. Speaking of that, if people want more information, where can they go?
Well, we have a very comprehensive website, oldsaybrookpublicschools.org.
Yeah.
We have a Twitter page, Facebook feed, or is it a Twitter feed, a Facebook page? We have a LinkedIn page.
Okay.
So we're using social media. There's lots of information out there. If they have a particular interest in one of our schools, they can go to our website and click on the school and get all the information about that particular school. We have an athletics page, academic calendar, anything that you might want to know, general information, you can always get it there.
So you're keeping Trent on his toes.
Always. He's keeping me on my toes, too. Yeah.
How is he?
Yeah, he's terrific.
Is he?
Yeah, he's really good. He's doing a lot of public relations work for us,
Yep.
which I greatly appreciate. And we have a really good team. We just got a new director of curriculum instruction assessment at central office. Ours moved on, and he happens to be a Saybrook guy.
Okay.
So we're very happy to have him, Curry Fletcher, and currently we're in the process of finding a replacement for our director of student services, Kathy Bai, who's retiring at the end of the year
for her.
after many years of being with Old Saybrook. And so we're busy. We have a lot going on.
Cool. Well, Jan Perruccio from the town of Old Saybrook, we're out of time, but hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having me. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Jan.
it.
On behalf of Jan Perruccio, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night. We'll see you next time.